Hello everyone, I want to thank you so much for coming back to my channel today. If today is your first time, I want to welcome you. On today's episode, we will be making my glazed donut recipe. This recipe is so simple to make. Here are the simple ingredients you need. Without further ado, let me go ahead and show them to you. Over here, I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. I have 3 tablespoons of melted butter, 1 egg. I'll also use my vanilla extract. Right here, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of milk powder, okay? Here I have 4 tablespoons of sugar, and I'm going to add that to the all-purpose flour. Now right here, this is a teaspoon of sugar, and I'm going to use this sugar to activate the yeast. This is my half a teaspoon of salt, and this is my 2 tablespoons of active dry yeast. I have 1 cup of milk, and this bowl I'll be doing the mixing. So I want to tell you that today's bread mixing, I'm not going to use the electric mixture with the paddle attachment. It looks like most of my bread recipes, that's what I use. Today I'm going to do it manually with my hand and knead it on a countertop. So those of you that do not have the electric mixture, you can also have the opportunity to make bread without it, okay? And this is the method, the easiest method possible. So stay tuned as we get started. Once again, I want to thank you so much for coming by, and I hope that you will enjoy the making today. Please keep watching and remain blessed. Okay, so before you start with the recipe, you want to activate your yeast like I said before. So you want to use your nice clean hand and then stick your hand inside the milk. If you have the urge to take it out, it means that your milk is too hot and it will kill the yeast, okay? So my milk is not hot, it's just good, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pour in the yeast, and then I'm also going to add the sugar. So after we mix the yeast, we are going to leave it at a very nice warm place and have it activated, okay? So give it a nice stir and make sure that the yeast has mixed with the milk and the sugar, and then just set it aside. Now the next thing we want to do is to mix our dry ingredients. So I'm adding the salt, the milk powder, the sugar, and then mix it thoroughly with the all-purpose flour. So that has mixed very nice and thoroughly. So let's go ahead and move on to mixing it together. So whenever you see that the surface of your yeast mixture has become foamy like this, it means that your yeast has been activated, and now you can go ahead and use it. So the next thing I want to do is to mix all the liquid. So I'm adding the melted butter, the egg and then the yeast mixture, okay? At the same time, I'll be adding about a teaspoon of my pure vanilla extract. Let's go ahead and add that. So I'm just going to mix all the ingredients together, make sure everything is nicely incorporated. And I'm going to be scooping bits and bits of my all-purpose flour mixture. So you want to mix it until everything has nicely come together and form into a nice ball dough, okay? So at this point, you can use your nice clean hands and then work on the dough. So in order for your donuts to be really soft and nice and fluffy, we want the dough to be very soft and sticky, okay? So this is how I want to leave my dough. What I'll be doing is to allow this sticky dough to rise. I'm not going to add too much flour to it. I'll only add more flour when I'm ready to knead it, okay? So I'm just going to add a little bit of oil to release all the excess dough on the sides of the bowl, and just cover it up and have it rise for me. I just want to leave it like that, okay? I'm just going to cover it up. I'll have it rise. It might take about 40 minutes for it to rise. Once it is risen, I will knead it, and this time I'll add just a little bit of flour. So let's go ahead and cover it up. So I'm going to leave it to rise. Might take about 40 to 50 minutes, and I'll come back and check upon it. So it's been like an hour. So what I'll be doing is to check on my donut dough and see whether it has risen. Obviously you can see that it has risen, it has doubled in size. So now we can take it out and start working on it. So what I'll be doing now is I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour. And there is a secret to making a very nice fluffy donut. What I'll be doing is I will roll this dough and I will fold it and roll it for about 3 or 4 times. That way when you bite into the donut, you will see that it is formed in layers, and that is how you create those layers, okay? So I'll be sprinkling a little bit of the flour on top of the dough, and I just want to make sure that it's completely solid and formed just like that. Okay. Not too much flour because you want to maintain the softness, okay? So rub a little bit of the flour on the rolling pin and then just roll it. So watch me as I roll it about 4 times, folding and rolling. I'll do that about 4 times before we start cutting the donuts. Please keep watching. So what I'll be doing now is to cut into the dough. So you can just rub your cutter in a little bit of flour so it makes it easier to cut. I'm going to cut about this size, okay? And then I'm going to use this little container cup to cut into the middle, okay? It's gonna look just like that. And here I have my parchment paper and a little bit of flour on top of the tray, so I'm just going to put it like that, and I'm going to finish the rest of the dough and show you how it's looking. And we're going to cover this up and have it rise again for the second time, and that will probably take about 30 minutes before we start frying the donuts. So please keep watching as we do that. So our shaped donut is supposed to look something like this, okay? So like I said, let's go ahead and cover it up, and then I'll come and show you how it's supposed to look like. Have it sit down for about another 30 minutes for it to rise, and then we'll start frying them. So it's been about 40 minutes, and I'm going to check on the donut to see whether it has risen for the second time. Obviously it looks like it has, so I'm going to start frying them, okay? Here I'm warming up the oil and I have it on medium heat, so the frying process will be starting in just a second. But before we start frying the donuts, here are the ingredients we are going to need to glaze the donut. Here I have 1 cup of powdered sugar. I have a tablespoon of melted butter, 2 tablespoons of milk. I'll use a teaspoon of vanilla extract to flavor one of the glaze, and the other glaze I'll be using granulated sugar, and I have about 2/3 cups of that, and I'm going to add cinnamon, okay? So let's go ahead and then take care of the glaze, and then we'll move on to fry the donuts. So this is how the cinnamon sugar looks like, and I'm gonna make the other glaze. So this is the consistency of the second glaze. It's not too thick and it's not overly loose, so this is it, okay? So let's go ahead and start frying the donuts, and then we can start glazing them. You want to make sure that the sugar cinnamon, you want to glaze the donut right after the oil. But then for this other glaze, we are going to wait for the donut to cool down a little bit. And here you can see that I have my cooling rack, and I'm going to use that for that purpose. So let's get to work. If you find that your oil is too hot, just lower it and then let it take its time to fry. You don't want it to burn. You want it to fry beautifully, okay? You want that beautiful golden brownish color. So our first batch is ready. What I'll be doing is to scoop them out of the oil, okay? Hello everyone, I want to thank you so much for coming by and learning how to make this delicious glazed donuts recipe. As you saw, the making was extremely simple. Should you have any questions, do not forget to leave them down below for me and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also, if you're a new subscriber, I want to thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Once you're added, do not forget to click on the notification button so you can get my new uploads every time I upload a new video. Also, if you like what you saw, please do not forget to like, do not forget to share, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do not forget to subscribe. Thank you so much. God richly bless you. Glazed donuts recipe. Bye for now.